Let me tell you, if you think writing a blog post for search is the same as it was a few years ago, well, you're in for a big surprise. The entire game has changed fundamentally. So today, we're going to dive into the new playbook for getting your content not just ranked, but actually cited in this new era.
It used to be so simple, right? You'd write a post, get it to rank on Google, and boom, you were done. But that's only half the battle now. We're not just trying to top a list of blue links anymore. No way. We're competing to be the definitive source for AI assistants like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity. And that means your content has to do double duty. It's got to rank in traditional search, sure, but it also has to be structured perfectly to get picked up and cited in those AI-generated answers.
So, how in the world do we master this new dual-purpose approach? Well, we're going to break it down with a four-part playbook. First, we'll lay our strategic foundation. Then, we'll get into crafting that citable content. After that, we'll cover the nitty-gritty of optimizing for clicks and crawlers. And finally, we'll tackle the most crucial part, proving your expertise. This is your roadmap. Okay, let's jump right into our first pillar, laying that strategic foundation. Seriously, before you write a single word, you have to have a solid plan. This is all about picking the right target and really, truly understanding what your audience is trying to accomplish. And that foundation, it all starts with your target keyword. The process is pretty straightforward. First, you brainstorm your topic. Second, you look at metrics like search volume to make sure people are actually looking for it. But here's the real game changer. Step 3. Using a metric that some tools call personal keyword difficulty, or PKD, you can see how hard it'll be for your specific website to rank. This helps you find those golden, low-competition opportunities where you've got a real shot at winning. Once you've got your keyword, you've got to understand its search intent. Basically, the why behind the search. What is the user really hoping to find? Are they trying to learn something, buy something, find a specific website? Getting this right is completely non-negotiable. I mean it. Both Google and AI are absolutely obsessed with satisfying user intent. If your content doesn't match it, you're pretty much invisible. All right, so with our strategy locked in, let's move on to pillar 2, crafting that citable quality content. This is where the magic really happens. We need to write posts that are not only great for people to read, but are also structured perfectly for an AI to come along and quote. So what does a citable post even look like? Well, it starts with a strong hook right in the intro to grab attention. Then you use clear headings, your H2s and H3s, to build a logical skeleton for the article. Now, here's a super critical tip. Start each section with a direct, to-the-point answer before you elaborate. This inverted pyramid style makes your key points incredibly easy for an AI to just grab and cite. And of course, use simple language and keep your paragraphs short, like 2 or 3 sentences max. It just makes everything so much more digestible. Want a secret weapon for getting noticed by AI? Data. The research on this is really clear. Just adding relevant statistics to your content can boost its visibility in AI answers by around 33%. Why? It's because verifiable stats signal credibility and authority, and that is the exact currency that these AI platforms trade in. But hold on, it's not enough to just drop random numbers in there. You have to use them the right way. Be specific. Don't round things down. And always, always cite the original source. Don't just link to some other article that quotes the study. Go find the primary source yourself. And you want to present the stat concisely, because AI often just pulls a single sentence. And finally, try to use recent data to show your content is fresh and relevant. Okay, now for our third pillar, optimizing for clicks and crawlers. This is the more technical side of SEO, right? The nuts and bolts. All those essential details that help search engines find, understand, and ultimately rank your content. This whole thing starts with your title tag. It's often the very first thing a user sees in the search results. You got to keep it under 55 characters so it doesn't get cut off. Put your main keyword right up near the beginning for immediate relevance. And remember, it has to be more than just descriptive. It has to be compelling enough to actually earn that click. And hey, the same logic applies to your URL. I mean, just look at this comparison. Which one tells you what the page is about? It's a no-brainer, right? A clean, descriptive URL that includes your keyword is just so much better for users, and it gives search engines an instant clue about what your page is all about. And please don't forget internal links. These are the pathways you build from one page on your site to another.
A smart linking strategy does two amazing things. It helps your users discover more of your great content, and it helps search engines understand the relationships between your pages, building this powerful web of topical authority. Just make sure the links are actually relevant and that the anchor text, the clickable words, is descriptive.
Okay, this brings us to our final, and you could argue, most important pillar, proving your expertise. In a world that is just flooded with content, you have to prove to both users and algorithms that your information is trustworthy and that it comes from a place of genuine authority. And the framework for this is Google's concept of EEAT. That stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. And listen, these are not just some fluffy buzzwords. They are the core quality guidelines that Google's own human raters use to evaluate content, and we're seeing AI systems prioritize these exact same signals when they choose which sources to cite. So how do you signal EEAT? A really powerful and honestly often overlooked place to start is the author bio. Don't just use a generic company name. Have actual industry experts write your content. Then, in their bio, showcase their degrees, their certifications, their years of hands-on experience. This is such a direct and powerful way to demonstrate the experience and expertise parts of the equation. And to build authoritativeness and trust, you need to bring expert insights directly into your posts. You could hire an expert to contribute, maybe interview one and sprinkle their quotes throughout, or even just reference commentary from other credible sources, as long as you give them proper credit. This shows you're not just operating in a vacuum. You're part of the larger expert conversation happening in your field. So as we wrap this up, I'll leave you with a question to think about. Is your content just providing answers, or is it proving its authority? In today's landscape where AI is the new search engine, just being correct isn't enough anymore. You have to be credible. Making that shift from simply answering questions to demonstrating true expertise, well, that's the key to winning, not just today, but for years to come.